Hello everyone, Convar's back, and I'm bringing you guys another Guild Wars 2 video. This one is for Engineer. It is my new Celestial Rifle Engineer build that I made. Sorry about that lag there, I don't know why it happened. But the 23rd patch ended up changing a lot of stuff, especially for the Engineer. So I was waiting for a while to put out a build before, I wanted things to settle in so it wouldn't just be some temporary thing that people would use. But this build has been working really well for me. It plays exactly the same way as the Celestial Rifle build did pre-patch, and in some ways it's almost stronger just because you have more versatility in how you can build it. So looking at the skills, you're using the rifle of course, and then you're going to be using the healing turret, the grenade kit, which is going to give you a whole set of grenades that'll apply a variety of conditions, which is going to help your condition damage. Then you're going to be using the toolkit, which is going to provide you with some crowd control from the magnet, 3-second block, some confusion, and a really high damage skill on pry bar. Small amount of bleed and cripple. I don't really use it that much, and I don't really use the auto attack at all, so you don't really need to worry about those two. And then you're going to be running slick shoes for the crowd control that comes off of that. And then actually now you're going to be running Elixir S. Not S, Elixir X. Sorry, my bad. But the reason you're going to be running that is the tool belt skill, which moas things. Now this is a really, really strong skill because it can cancel out things like Rampage and Lich Form. So if let's say I'm fighting this Necromancer over here, so I get this good CC chain into him, and he goes Lich Form. Well, what I can do is I can throw the little Moa thing, it'll cancel out his Lich Form and make him a Moa for 3 seconds, which will give me time to put a small amount of damage into him and walk away from the fight. It's a very strong team fighting utility, so you can play around with that. You also have a chance to get a tornado or a juggernaut if you use the actual skill. I don't use it that much. You can also use mortar kit or supply crate. Both of them work. I've just found that Elixir X has a higher team fighting ability. So looking at the actual build, you're going to be running Celestial Amulet with runes of scavenging. And that's basically to fill in what you would normally have for vampirism runes, but because of the nerf to condition damage scaling, you have to have at least 700 to improve your damage, which is, you can see we have over 700, and that's because of the number 6 bonus on this, and at the same time we still get all the lifesteal. Then you're going to be running Doom and Intelligence Sigils, which is kind of common sense for Celestial Rifle. You can inhibit the healing of other players, and you're going to get more damage from those occasional crits. Your specializations are going to be firearms, alchemy, and inventions. So in firearms, your first minor trait is going to give you a chance to cause bleed on critical hit, and this is going to give you an extreme amount of bleed stacking, especially when it comes to like your grenades and stuff, because each one of your nades is going to count for 3 separate hits, and then grenade barrage counts for 6. So if any of those crit, each one has that additional like 33% chance to cause bleed. So technically every single time you throw it, you're pretty much guaranteed, if all of them crit, to get bleeds, which is nice. Your first actual trait that you would select is going to be high caliber, and that's to give you a higher chance when you're within the range threshold. And a lot of times on points you're going to be within this small threshold, or if I'm here and I'm running around throwing my grenades, that extra crit chance is going to help me stack more bleeds on someone who I slick shoes. So it's a very effective trait. You don't really notice it significantly, but it's there, and it does make things very nice. And it works very well with Hematic Focus, which is your second minor trait. What that does, it gives you an additional 10% chance to critically strike against bleeding foes. So these two things stack very well together, in addition to high caliber. So if you can bleed your foe and then get a slick shoes combo off, you get 20% increased crit chance. When you already have 30% chance from your stats, you're going to have a 50% chance to crit people when you're up close doing a Slick Shoes combo. Then your second major trait is going to be Skilled Marksman. And what this is allowing you to do is you're going to attack 10% faster with your rifle, and all your skills are going to have a 20% reduced recharge. And this is really good for overcharge shot. It's going to take 4 seconds off the cooldown time, so you'll be able to land your overcharge shot much more often than you would if you were just running the thing unbuffed. So it's very helpful. I've enjoyed having that. You could alternate it with pinpoint distribution if you think you need more condition damage. I haven't really noticed a need for more condition damage, so I would take Skilled Marksman, and then I haven't really played around with No Scope. Your last minor trait is going to be Bleeding that you cause lasts longer. It's 33% longer on all your bleeds, which is why you're going to be able to stack a lot of bleeding with this build, because all your things are going to last for a good long time due to that condition duration increase. Your last major trait is going to be Incendiary Powder, and this is going to make all your burns last 33% longer, and on a crit you'll apply 2 stacks of burning for 5 seconds every 10 seconds. So you can have a 50% uptime of burns, which is going to be doing quite a bit of damage over time. So it's a very nice trait to have in there. Only other trait I would recommend going, if you wanted to alternate that out, would be Modified Ammunition. But you're already going to deal enough direct damage, you won't really need it, and it's better to have the extra Condi pressure, because that'll more often than not be the turning decision for fights. So looking at your alchemy line, your first minor trait is going to be Hidden Flask. I was just giving you a second to read what it does, but that's just, it's nice, it's boons, and it's going to remove a condition from you. Protection Injection is your first major trait, and that's going to give you a lot of protection uptime when it comes to being disabled. So it's going to be really hard for something like a Mesmer or Thief to do an insta-kill stun burst on you, because you're going to get protection, which is going to take 33% of that damage off of you. So it just gives you some more survivability against control-heavy classes. It's only on a 5-second cooldown, and you get it for 3 seconds, so it's almost permanent protection, which is amazing. Your second minor trait is Transmute. So every 15 seconds, one condition applied to you will be converted into a boon. It's kind of nice, less conditions. Backpack Regenerator gives you more sustain when you're using your kits, and because you have 2 of them, that's Grenade and Toolkit, you'll be regenerating quite a bit. Your last minor trait is going to be Alchemical Tinctures, and what that's going to give you is any elixir that is activated, like thrown or anything, is going to remove conditions, and your boon duration is going to be increased. So all the boons that I get on this build, my regen and my protection and stuff like that, that's all going to be increased by 20%. It's kind of nice. The big thing though is the elixirs removing conditions, because that means at 75% HP when Hidden Flask triggers, you're going to get a condition removed from you. It also means that Toss Elixir S is going to remove a condition from you, and because of the HGH trait, it's going to have a 20% increased duration. It's going to reduce the recharge of Toss Elixir X and the actual Elixir X skill by 20%, and they're going to give you 2 might, and they're all going to remove conditions. So your elite skill is actually going to feel like an elite skill. It's going to be very handy in almost any situation you need it. So that's that. You could also go with Stimulant Supplier for some Fury duration, and basically just some extra healing whenever you use a healing skill. But I found HGH you want to use whenever you have Elixir X on. If you use any of the other elites, then you'd want to go Stimulant Supplier. Iron Blood, honestly, I don't think is very good. Not for Engineer, at least. So looking at the inventions line, you have Cleansing Synergy, which is using a heal skill, triggers a cleansing pulse around you every 10 seconds. Which means this, instead of clearing just 2 conditions from your cleansing burst, you're actually going to cure 3 because, this will trigger. And it's going to be on a short enough cooldown that it will happen every single time you heal. So, more Condi removal, it's nice. And it guarantees that the damaging conditions like Torment and Burning are going to get removed, not just random things like Vulnerability. The next trait is kind of up for discussion. You can choose Automated Medical Response or Automated Bomb Dispenser. I've been liking the Bomb Dispenser because Medical Response, which is abbreviated AMR, is bugged, so it'll recharge the first part, the actual healing turret, but it won't recharge this little cleansing burst right here. So you can't do your burst heal, and it makes your heal practically useless, and it ends up killing you more often than it saves you. But if they fix that, then go for this one because it's awesome. Just for now, I actually enjoy having this smoke bomb, because it means whenever I get CC'd in melee range, I'm going to drop a smoke bomb. So things like warriors and thieves, they can't really jump on me and get a full burst off, because I'll drop a blind field around me and then they'll get blinded, so I can start mitigating damage. Your second minor trait is Heal Resonator. So when I use a healing skill, I'm going to apply regen. I already apply, 9 seconds of regen when I use my heal combo. This is going to apply another 7 seconds. So I'll apply 15 seconds of regen. I also have Regenerating Mist, which will apply 3 more seconds of regen. So you can stack a lot of regen with this build, giving you a ton more sustain. And you can see on the tooltip, it says 250 healing power. That's because of the last trait, which is Energy Amplifier, which gives you 250 extra healing power when you have regen. So it's going to give you some extra sustain. Your regen will go from 145 to 158. It's really nice. Your second major trait is going to be Mecha Legs. So you're going to have resistance to those movement impairing conditions, and you're also going to have that movement speed increase that you really need as an engineer, because this is a nice movement speed. If I were to take that off, you're slow. So you definitely want the Mecha Legs, which will give you that movement speed. And then your final trait is going to be Bunker Down, which is going to mainly be used for that bandage that you can see on the tooltip. Means when I crit someone, I'm going to get regen, which is going to give me healing power, and I'm going to get direct healing, which is going to keep me sustained through my fights better. So all this stuff, all those crits that I'm putting out, each one of those is proccing a little bandage, like you can see right there. So if I run over those, I'm going to get healing. See if I can go over this one. There. A little bit of healing. It's just some extra sustain, but every little bit helps when you're in a fight. Especially when there's a ton of damage and Condi in this meta. So that's kind of the build. Now we can go over some combos in it. The first one is going to be just the normal overcharge shock combo that you're going to want to be using, because it's pretty high damage, and if you can chain it well enough, you'll be able to turn fights around really easily. So you start with overcharge shot, then you're going to throw the wrench, which is your tool belt tool skill. You'll immobilize them with net, and then throw grenades. And then after that, you can just kind of do whatever. But you see, just that dealt that much damage. His health's almost gone just from that combo. So, I could pull him in after that and do a pry bar. I can slick shoes, which that's actually the second combo we're going to talk about, is the use of magnet pull and slick shoes. They're both on cooldown right now, so I can't show you because I just used it. But as you saw, I pulled him in and activated slick shoes and pry bar at the same time. So I ran around him, whacked him with pry bar, and then basically just used my poison grenade, my freeze grenade, and my shrapnel grenade to make sure I put on a ton of conditions so that those would wear off, and then afterwards you can finish off with jump shot to basically destroy your enemy in one shot. And you can actually chain the two combos together if your enemy is just eating all your CC, you can do a 100-0 combo between the two. So as they're immobilized, just pull them in, and then go through your skills, and bam, you win the fight. So that's some of the combos available on there. There are definitely a couple more, but those are the 3 really big combos that you gotta know and that you gotta familiarize yourself with. You can also just, one of the things you also want to make sure you're doing is using high damage skills like blunderbuss and jump shot along with pry bar whenever you get your intelligence procs. So if I come up and I hit him and then I swap, I have next 3 attacks will critically hit. So I'm going to want a pry bar so I can guarantee the crit, and then switch off and hit him with blunderbuss for both of those hitting for 2.5k damage. It actually hits for quite a bit more on glassy characters like thieves and mesmers, but on average it'll be about 2.5, 3k maybe. And that's pretty good considering how low of a power level we have. It's just Engineer's toolkit and rifle scales very easily with power, so you don't have to stack a ton of power to do a lot of damage from certain skills. You also have an additional healing combo using Regenerating Miss and Jump Shot. It'll create Elite Finisher, which will give you some extra health there, or you can put Jump Shot into your Healing Turret combo, which if you're not familiar with the Healing Turret combo, you activate this twice really quick to activate the Healing Turret skill and then the Cleansing Burst, and then you blow it up or pick it up. So if you pick it up, it's going to lessen the cooldown of it by 5 seconds, which is very nice. But if you just need a lot of health, blast it, and then you can add your Jump Shot finisher into that and have a lot of regen with a good, strong heal. With this build though, you want to be very careful of heavy CC classes like Hammer Warriors, because you have one stun break, and that's Slick Shoes. Not Slick Shoes, it's the Tool Belt skill for Slick Shoes, which is Super Speed. It's on a 25-second cooldown, so if people start CC training you, you blow your stun break and then get CC'd again, you just have to eat it. There's nothing you can do about it. So you are going to have to watch a lot with this build and be very careful when you're playing, but if you can play it well enough, you're going to get a lot of good results from your gameplay. So you can also do what I just did there, which is, it's a different combo, but it uses the same kind of skills. What you do is you magnet pull, and then pry bar, and then switch and then do your jump shot combo. So play around with some of the combos in there. There's definitely a lot of good things you can learn on Engineer and get really good at. Another cool tip, because I'm just going over tips and tricks right now, you can actually use your healing turret to body block stuff. So say a ranger's rapid firing me from like where this tree is, I can back up as I heal, and that'll absorb part of his rapid fire while healing me at the same time. Just some little positioning things to get used to. Your block's on a 20-second cooldown, so use that wisely. Don't just spam it off cooldown. You also don't have any way to refill dodges earlier, so make sure you conserve those. And also alternate between like dodging and using blocks and heals and stuff like that. Don't just spam both your dodges and then all your defensive cooldowns at once, because if you spam defensive cooldowns, you're gonna die. It's not as forgiving as like a Celestial DDLE, so you do have to be careful when you are playing, because you can get 100-0'd as easily as they can to you, because all they gotta do is land CC or a really strong offensive chain. So just be aware when you're playing, and you'll have some nice results. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'll try to put up a gameplay video of this sometime in the near future. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and have a good one, everyone.